Ben and Zoe, congratulations on The Politician. Absolutely loved it.
Yay.
When you hear that Ryan Murphy has a new project, do you ask what it is or do you just go, I want on board?
Both. I mean, I think the way that this particular one came about is that Ryan came to see a musical I was doing and then asked me after the fact if I wanted to have a meal and talk about working together, and I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that whatever I was going in for, I was going to say yes. And then when I sat down, he pitched me this show and this character, and the yes became even easier to say, and I had to sort of maintain my cool as far as how enthusiastic I wanted to appear, because obviously I went home and screamed into the phone to my parents. But then I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Oh, just to lead the show and have Gwyneth Paltrow be my mom and have it be a fantastic and very fascinating character? Sure, very calm.
Super chill.
What was your experience like?
Well, I read it and I thought it was, one of the best things I've ever read in my life. And it was just such a unique perspective and story and group of people that I definitely was like, I need to audition. And Ben was so kind in calling me and making sure that I had read it and that I was interested in going to audition.
I knew we needed her.
Well, Zoe, you've said about acting, I've always been really curious. That's why I became an actor. What curiosity did Infinity stir up in you and Peyton in you, Ben?
A lot. But one of the things that I found really interesting about Infinity was her restraint and her isolation, forcing her lack of mobility, like the way that her body and the way that she moves in the world, and how she functions. Like how that was really fun for me to sort of explore that world of her. And of course, I don't know how much I can say. It's hard.
You can't say anything.
I can't say anything about her, but everything about her
Yeah.
I was curious about. There is a plethora of questions, unanswered questions to ask about that human being and her world.
I think to me, I was very curious about Peyton's ability to compartmentalize his emotions and to sacrifice those things for his ambition and his drive, because I think I'm someone who's also very driven and ambitious, but I'm not able to detach from my feelings. I think I lean into them, if anything, as an actor and try to use them and exploit them. But I was just very fascinated by someone whose fervent ambition was such that he would be willing to do those things.
And I feel like we had so many conversations about Peyton, about like how far you were always like, I think you were, and for both of us, we were only getting the scripts as they were. We didn't have any idea. I mean, you more so because you were producing, but I'm so used to reading a full story and kind of breaking down a character in a story with the whole thing in front of me. So week by week, I had to ask different questions, and sometimes the answers that I came to were not necessarily right, which is also fun and different and ever-changing and kind of more like a proper reflection of life. You never actually know. You don't get to play God as much as you do when in a movie. You're like, this is what's going to happen, and that's how she's going to react, and this. The TV show, you're like, oh, God, I was wrong. I was very wrong.
There's so many great things about this show, but the cast is phenomenal.
It's ridiculous.
You mentioned Gwyneth, right? But when you find out there's Bob, Gwyneth, Jessica, I don't even have to say surnames because everyone knows who we're talking about. When you hear they're going to play your family members, you have to have a freak out moment.
Very much so. Very, very much so. Particularly when the first day we were shooting is the first day that I met Gwyneth, and it was the first scene.
Wow.
The first scene we shot of the whole series was she's in a beautiful Carolina Herrera red gown in the garden. So I'm walking into this like absolutely ostentatious, luxurious place, and here comes like movie star Gwyneth Paltrow walking down the path on this gorgeous grass, being like, "Welcome to this Ryan Murphy piece that you're now leading." And it was sort of like, it was like a dream sequence almost. But the best thing about working with people like this is getting to put a human being to the persona, like getting to really know the person and who's behind the talent or the personality that you love. So for both of them, for Bob Balaban and for Gwyneth, it was just wonderful to get to feel like I could connect with them on a human level and feel this kind of protectiveness coming from them and this maternal-paternal feeling.
You had Jessica Lange, who I'm sure is up here on a pedestal. So how do you humanize her at the very beginning?
She does that.
Yeah.
She's been at this a long time. She knows how people, particularly I'm sure young actresses, react to her. And she just with deep admiration and like a fangirlish tendency. So she immediately, I think one of the things that's really she's a great sense of humor, and she's so funny. She's one of the funniest people I've ever met. So immediately you feel more comfortable with someone who's making you laugh. It's hard to be scared when you're laughing.
I've got so much more that I want to talk to you about, but I have to just quickly ask, you've got two really interesting projects coming up, Zombieland Double Tap, Richard Linklater's 20-year project due for release in 2040. Wow, what is that experience like, filming in real time?
I think it's a really brilliant idea. The musical's called Merrily Roll Along, and for many who aren't familiar, they're only seeing the headline of this is going to be an 18-year project, and this is Richard Linklater. But the genius of Rick's concept is that this piece is a beloved musical by Stephen Sondheim, who's the greatest musical theater composer who ever lived. And it's about a group of friends that are three best friends that grow apart over time and become very jaded by success and lack thereof, and alcoholism and lack thereof. And the show shows the story backwards. So when you first meet them, they're at their oldest, most jaded state, and by the end, they're incredibly naive, and you see the fresh ideology of where they began. So the flaw has always been on the stage version that you have actors playing either too young or too old at some point in the piece, and you have to sort of detach and suspend disbelief. But to watch the real aging process in reverse and watch people go back to their roots of when they weren't so jaded and when they believed that everything was possible is going to be a very emotionally moving thing to do. So I think it's brilliant, and I get to do it with my best friend Beanie.
Do you have any time? Can I say something?
Say it.
Yeah.
Say it.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm in Zombieland 2, which is, it's been 10 years since the first one came out, and I remember watching the first one and thinking, oh God, it looks like they're having so much fun. I love all these actors, and they look like they're just having a blast. And I was like, oh God, I know better. I know it can be tricky. Filming is sometimes hard, and it's not always what it appears. Like anything in life, I roll up to shoot the second one. I was so wrong. It was it was like a genuine party. The funniest, most like joyous set I've ever been on. They are just, it was like I just became a part of this like raucous, hilarious family, and I cannot wait for it to come out. I think it's October 18th, October 17th, October 17th. Yeah, one of those days. Yeah, I'm very excited. Go see it.
Cannot wait. But in the meantime, The Politician, thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Enjoyed to meet you both. Thank you
Nice
so
to meet
much.
you.
So nice to meet
Thank
you.
you.